So we've just won the World Cup with Liechtenstein, which leads to the inevitable question. Where do we go from here? Well, with FM25 still 3 months away, how about Tupapa Maraerenga FC and the Cook Islands while we're at it? And in case you missed my short last week and you're wondering why I've picked a team that nobody's really heard of and how come I'm wearing their away kit, well, that's thanks to Sangalo, the go-to place to build your football shirt collection. We featured a Sangalo challenge on the channel a few months ago, taking Stallion Laguna of the Philippines to AFC Cup glory. Since then, Sangalo have started producing shirts for teams from around the world. Clubs from countries as diverse as St. Kitts and Nevis, Rwanda, the US Virgin Islands, and Uganda, as well as the Cook Islands' most successful team, Tupapa Maraerenga FC. And Sangalo, as we know, don't just sell you the shirt, they sell you the story as well. And with Tupapa Maraerenga FC, they highlight their community focus and their importance to the Cook Islands national team, while also spotlighting players like veteran Grover Harmon. Here he is in the game. And look at this comment at the end of their write-up about the club. Who knows? They might just win the OFC Champions League soon enough. But that is not all we are here to do. Tom FM has already completed the challenge, winning the OFC Champions League with the Cook Islands side already. So having seen my success with FC Vaduz and Liechtenstein, Sangalo have something even more challenging in mind for me. They want me to build up Tupapa Maraerenga to the point where they become pro or semi-pro, and we can sell a Cook Islands player to another league for
$1 million.
And beyond winning the O-League with the club, they've challenged me to stack the Cook Islands national team with Tupapa Maraerenga produced talent and take them to OFC Nations Cup glory. Never mind FM25. How long do we have until FM26 comes out? Anyway, before we get into this impossible challenge, do please go and take a look at the Sangalo website if you're looking to add something more obscure to your football shirt collection. Sangalo do ensure that every shirt sale goes to supporting these unique football clubs. I've left a referral link in the pinned comment and the video description. Full disclosure, it's not an affiliate link. They did, however, send me this shirt for free, so thanks, Sangalo. Now here's my squad when I took over, and we can immediately see problems. Only one winger, no left back, and wait, no goalkeepers? I need to make some signings, which I did, bringing in 4 players in the pre-season. Now, as we and all the teams around us are amateur, it is very tempting to just swoop in and pluck the best players from all the other Cook Islands teams, but I restricted myself to just 2 such raids. One to bring in a much-needed goalie, Moana Rakai, formerly of Nikau Sokotak, taking the number 1 jersey, and the other to bring in left wing-back Luke Araya from Matavera. We'll retrain him as a fullback. We also signed 2 free agents, with Romata Kareka coming in to bolster the defence, and the stupendously named Graham Viking to add more options up front and out wide. They joined some already good for the level players. We've already met Grover Harmon, so let me introduce you to his brother Lee, who also plays in attack. Tajetin Kumsuz provides a determined presence in midfield, and has already put himself in my good books by choosing to represent the Cook Islands over Australia, having come through the ranks of a familiar team from a recent challenge on the channel, Western Sydney Wanderers. We also have Jake McCoy, a New Zealander who we are hoping might someday finally get that paperwork come through for Cook Islands nationality. In pre-season we invited an Indonesian team and a couple of Canadian sides for the Sangalo tournament, which we won. On now to quite a unique domestic season. Now, the Cook Islands is truly a tiny nation with a population of about 13,500. So the league, somewhat confusingly called the Round Cup, is pretty small as well, with just 6 teams. And we only play each other twice, so that's 10 games for the entire league campaign. There is also a Cook Islands Cup, but with only 6 teams, we could literally play just 2 or 3 matches to win it. So kinda like the Liechtensteiner Cup then. In mid-August, we kicked off our campaign against Nikau Sokotak, Romaita Karika, debuting against his former club. Harvo Mustonen got the first goal of the campaign, assisted by Graham Viking, who then got on the score sheet himself for the second, before returning to the provider role to set up Lee Harmon for number 3. Off to a comfortable winning start. A Grover Harmon brace the following week meant that we beat Avatiu comfortably 2-0. despite having a man sent off in the first half. A straight red. I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere. It was the younger Harmon boy who took centre stage on matchday 3, bagging himself a hat-trick, as we easily dispatched Matavera 3-0. Great form so far. The following week was a bit quieter as a single Paavo Mustonen goal earned us victory over Puakira. Still, a win's a win, and we now have 4 of them. No goals conceded yet either. It looked like business as usual the next week as Lee Harmon opened the scoring against Titi Kaveka, but shock horror in the second half as we conceded for the first time this season and dropped points for the first time as well. We bounced back against Abatiu the following week, but then another shock first as we failed to score for the first time against Nikau Sokatak. We would only have 1 game in November and would have several of our key players missing. Why? Well, because it was time for our first major action with the Cook Islands as we took part in the Pacific Games. Now, the Pacific Games in the FM24 base game does not follow the new format of the competition which was introduced last year, so I built it myself in the pre-game editor with 4 groups of 3, no New Zealand under-23s, but with non-FIFA members Tuvalu and Northern Mariana Islands from the East Asian Federation. And now for an FM editor nerdy bit that I'm really quite proud of myself for, as I even managed to replicate the positional playoffs. So the group winners go to the semi-finals, the runners-up go to the 5th to 8th position playoff, while the bottom side go into the 9th to 12th playoff bracket. Our first friendly in charge of Cook Islands started well, as we picked up an impressive win over Tahiti, 2-0, both goals from Shane Tuteru, not only scoring on his debut, but also becoming the Cook Islands' youngest ever player and youngest ever goal scorer in the process. Our other friendly results suggested that was something of a fluke, however, or perhaps not, as we won our Pacific Game warm-up matches against Dominican Republic and East Timor with a first away win. And Shane Tuteru here, not able to get a start for Tupapa Maraerenga, but now the Cook Islands' all-time top goal scorer. The rest of the national side is dominated by his Tupapa Maraerenga teammates, including a mid-season signing Toru Matarariki. But the squad also includes some other faces like Emiel Burrow, who plays in New Zealand's regional leagues, as does Ben Meta, who turns out for Wellington Olympic, and goalkeeper Keegan Inia of South Auckland Rangers. They don't all play in the Cook Islands and New Zealand though, as we also have Tyrell Barringer Tahiri, who plays his club football for Tafia in Vanuatu. Our Pacific Games campaign started with a tough match against hosts New Caledonia, which we would lose 1-0. We faced Tonga next and immediately took the lead through Emiel Burrow. Ben Mata then doubled our lead from the spot, before an own goal made that win we desperately needed seem inevitable. Burrow then added his second and our fourth, with another own goal completing Tonga's humiliation and giving us a massive morale boost. Alas, we could not top the group, but we did qualify for the 5th place playoff bracket, starting with Tahiti. An early exchange of goals meant the game was level at 1 apiece, but we were soon 2-1 down and in need of a comeback. Emiel Burrow again popped up to level the tie, and in the final 10 minutes, Toru Matarariki, our new signing for Tupapa Maraerenga, got his second of the match to give us the win. Papua New Guinea were our opponents in the match to decide 5th place, but we went behind early on and were 2 down before the quarter hour. 2-0 was how it finished. But still, that meant 6th place in the competition, exceeding the pre-tournament expectation of 9th, and earning us the label of tournament overachievers. We will return to international action early next year with the OFC Nations Cup qualifying round, but first, back to the Cook Islands and the Round Cup, where with several players absent due to the Pacific Games, we unfortunately lost to Matavera, our first defeat of the season, but still 3 points clear at the top with 2 games to go. Before we would get to those 2 games, however, we had the Cook Islands Cup to contend with. Our position as one of the best teams in the league meant a bye to the semi-finals, and as we charged into a 3-goal lead over Matavera, it may as well have been a bye to the final. Matavera would pull one back in the second half, but Graham the Viking was on hand to make sure. Into the final then, where we would face Puarikora, who are also currently the 2nd place team in the Round Cup. setting up an interesting pair of games as we would play them in the cup final and then a potential league title decider just a few days later. It was the cup final first, and an early boost for us as we won a penalty off a corner, dispatched by Tajetin Kumsuz. Marcus Gibbons then added another early in the second half, enough for the first trophy of the save. 1 week later we hosted Puyukera in the Round Cup title clash. Lee Harmon and Toru Matiariki gave us a 2-goal lead, and then Graham the Viking, I inserted added a third in the first half stoppage time, putting us 6 points clear with only 1 game to play, winning the title and completing the double. The final game of the season was a walk in the park, a comfortable title win in the end. But what of the other parts of this challenge? Well, we haven't had a youth intake yet, though there is the promise of a fine prospect of a striker coming through, and we are some way off becoming semi-pro. Perhaps a good run in the O-League will help, as in the new year we will enter the preliminary round, facing the best sides that Tonga, Samoa and American Samoa have to offer. And look at that, we will also face the national sides of those countries in the OFC Nations Cup first round, which will make for an exciting next episode.